So Liza, you're going to demonstrate now?
We could do that. Yeah, while we were talking about Foursquare, why don't we take a look at it? All right. Yeah, okay. All right. So, all right. Mine is how did we do this? Rotor? Where? Oh, that's not it. Okay, I'll just translate. All right.
I can use mine.
Okay. Well, it's already happened and everything, so.
Double tap to open.
People will ask if you can turn the lights
Facebook. Facebook HD. Foursquare.
There you go.
Foursquare. Back button.
Oh, they'll be off.
So,
Barron College. William and Anita Newman vertical back button.
Okay. So you want to call?
yeah, so I guess, so.
Show navigation menu
And
button.
can you put your,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
okay. So Mike's got Foursquare.
Check in button.
Basically, and that's, okay, so that's what we were talking about.
Check in.
Check in.
Cancel button.
You can actually, like, signify that you are at place. So can you just go to the first thing on the list?
Check in. Heading. Search places. Search Barron College. William and Anita Newman vertical campus. 55 Lexington 8th. Abby 24th Street. 90 feet. 7 people are here. University.
It says 7 people are here, which is clearly a little kind of, so basically the idea here is
Mine
that
is very scratchy.
I can show my okay, so yeah, it told us a few things there. It told us that the library building was the closest building to us. It told us that it's a university, and it told us that there are some people here. And that part is sometimes useful, sometimes not. If I am Baruch, if I represent the university, it's good for me to know that because I can know how many people are checking in, how many people are on this app, and I can use that, right? So if I'm a store, I can say, oh, you're checked in. Hey, cool. 50% off for you on this random product. So it's a way of building loyalty. And then, do you want to open that listing and see if there are any comments?
You sure about that?
On the university.
Barron College. William and Anita Newman Library. 151 25th Street. Check in here button. Facebook on button. Check. Facebook. Check in here button. Check in here. Dimmed. You close, but you unlocked a book or badge.
Ooh.
Oh, so
It
yes,
doesn't sound like Baruch is offering free tuition.
So he also got a little, Foursquare has some kind of gimmicks. It has some badges. So I have a few coffee drinker badges because I check in at a lot of coffee shops. So it'll say like, wow, you really ingest a lot of caffeine, good for you. So that's just kind of a way that it encourages. But what I'm hoping we can check out.
Nerd alert.
Nerd alert.
You want close button. Close.
It also
Conference
has.
tabs. First time at Barron College. With first of your friends. Close button.
You know what's annoying about certain apps? When they do updates, sometimes it changes the whole layout.
That's true.
And if you're not familiar with it, you look foolish looking.
Share button.
So Mike, what are you doing right now? You're trying to scan through what's available?
I'm trying to look for comments that people might have left saying, oh, you know, check out the Shakespeare collection, it's wonderful. Or, you know, I try to take out Catching the Rye, it's always out. You know, people say stuff like that.
Okay, so I've got it. I'll just put mine down. So you can also look at if you click on the button that says Breward College, you can look here, and it has a map, which is not helpful for us, but it also has some tips at the bottom, right? So it says it's crowded at times. I get lots of work done on the 5th floor. So there are lots of different tips here. So if I've never been here, maybe I'm going to get some useful things. If I'm a new student, now I know, oh, it's crowded, but actually the 5th floor is a good bet. Oh, the 5th floor is the quietest study area. Good to know, right? So, so this is how I choose a lot of the places that I go, because I get tips, and I leave them as well, because maybe I discover that the Wi-Fi is broken. You can leave it so someone can figure out that this coffee shop has no Wi-Fi today. So yeah, Foursquare is a really fun way to just engage with your community and also just figure out what's there. Okay. We had a couple more shopping apps. Anybody here use Fresh Direct? It's kind of the same as Peapod that Judy was talking about, but it's specifically a New York, New Jersey grocery store, and they have like organic items, but they also have grocery store items. I won't demonstrate it because it's actually kind of similar to how Peapod is set up, but it's a way to just order your groceries online, get them delivered, and you can choose when they're delivered, the address, you can pay for it all on your iPhone, and it's really accessible. There are a few buttons that aren't labeled, but it's pretty easy to figure out which ones you need. And you can also read all the deals that they have that week and select the items you want really easily. And then, Mike, do you want to talk about menu pages?
Yeah, menu pages, and I just actually updated a new version today, and like many other apps, it's not as accessible and user-friendly for people using VoiceOver. But what menu pages is, and it's similar in a way to Foursquare and Around Me, but it's specific for restaurants. It'll tell you the immediate restaurants in the area, but you can also then choose by category if you don't want one in your area. Let's say you're downtown, you want to meet a friend up in Midtown, and you guys want, Indian food. So you can go in there, it'll give you a list of categories. So Indian food, you put in the part of town you want. You can either put an address or an area of town. I think it says like Midtown West, or Midtown East, depending on where you're at. And then it'll give you a list of Indian restaurants. It'll tell you right off the bat whether it's pricey, via the dollar sign. And then you pick one you want, and then you go in and view the menu. It'll have the menu on your iPhone. So you don't have to rely on the site assistants. You don't have to just say, I'll just have the chicken, whatever. You can actually view the menu at the restaurant or beforehand. And this is also, a website, so you can do it on your computer if you're not aware of that. But it's really good. It's really, I like using it when I'm being invited out to a restaurant. You find out ahead of time what to get. And again, there's also reviews on there. So people say, oh, the chicken is always rubbery.
And it also gives you prices, which I appreciate because, if you're getting someone to read you the menu, you have to, what's that cost? Okay, what about that one? Yeah, you already know. So you can get a really good idea of what that place has.
Is there an app for fast food restaurants?
You can search. Can you search
The
it?
question was whether there was an app for fast food restaurants.
If you use menu pages, I think you can search by fast food or some. I think you can search by that category.
Yeah, they have fast food in there. They even have lunch trucks in there now.
Oh, really?
Not all of them.
All right, how much time do we have, Marianne?
There's about 10 minutes left, so this might be a good time to start to take questions.
Okay, I just want to wrap up really quick and maybe Mike has some last comments. But so we've talked about a lot, and Mike touched on a good point, which is that everything is changing all the time, right? That's what's kind of exciting about being someone who works in technology. And it's also kind of exciting if you like trying stuff out. It does mean, though, that the app that you use today, if you update it tomorrow, it might be different. So you gotta kind of keep that in mind. I mean, we're kind of used to adapting though, aren't we, right? We're used to advocating for ourselves, and we're used to, I mean, or we're not. But you have to kind of be patient with this stuff, and if you aren't, you know, there is a learning curve, but we just kind of want you to know what's out there, right? Because there is a lot, if anything we talked about here today was something that you would really want, you now know that there are options, and we didn't have those options before. That's why it's really exciting. There's a really good resource for all things iPhone and Mac, which is AppleViz, AppleVis.com, and they have reviews from users and about how accessible an app is, and it gives you everything you need to know. And it also helps you find ways to contact developers about apps that aren't working. So AppleVis.com is a really useful website. And I guess before Mike gives his last comments, I'll give you my contact info. So again, my name is Eliza Cooper, and my website is elizacooper.com. There is my blog, and I'll be putting a list of apps on there in the next few days. If you want to contact me, you can. Actually, I work in social media, so I'm on Twitter all day long. So you can tweet me at Eliza in 140. So ELIZAIN 140. And email is eliza.l.cooper@gmail. Right, so that's eliza.l.cooper@gmail.com.
All right, well, we can keep our other.
Very good.
Should we take the questions and then do the rest of the closing ones? So it was a question, and I'll be repeating the question, assuming I can hear it.
So you were actually saying.
We're gonna give you a microphone.
So you are actually saying that dragging interfaces with the computer, the iPhone?
It does. It's basically it's available in 2 different places. So if you only have a computer, you can use it there. But if you have an iPhone, you can use it there as well.
So it'll email to your Facebook from your iPhone?
It can post, if you can email it to anybody from your iPhone, or you can.
As long as you have your email on your Facebook.
Yeah, you
on
can
your
put it on
iPhone.
Facebook, yep.
You can get more information about the apps, both at the App Store, where they tell you about it, and there's little reviews usually, or.
I don't have that.
Do you have another, okay, at this table right here, the red sweater.
I don't know if you were looking or pointing at me, but, okay. Are there overlays for the screen so you know where to touch? And where do you get them?
Did someone see, I was sitting next to someone who said it looked like Judy and Doug may have had them. Did anyone else see that?
Yes.
On their phones, yes. I would ask Judy because she seemed, I don't have one. Do you have one?
I don't have one.
Can I make a comment?
Oh, but yeah.
Okay, you can get the screen protectors, they call them at atguys.com.
ATguys.com?
You can get screen protectors at ATGuide.
Guys,
Guys,
G-U-Y-S.
G-U-Y-S, as in fellows.
Could you say that again on the mic, please?
They're going to bring the mic over to you so that you can say and spell. One of you at that table can.
Oh, is it? Okay. The tactile, can you hear me now, folks? Okay. The tactile screen protectors are available at atguys.com.
And Rad says that they're called speed dots. That's what those are called.
Speed dots.
Speed dots.
How about the Android phone? Do they have some of these same apps?
Yep.
Yeah, many of them are available through the Android market. Not all of them.
I have a question about foreign films that so many of us enjoy. When it's translated with the subtitles on the bottom of the film, of course we can't access that. Are there any thoughts or are there any advancements in that arena?
I don't know the answer to that.
You have to ask, I know they're doing a presentation on the scripted video stuff right now, actually. So I would defer to the presenters on that one.
I don't think it's anything that's going to come out as an app or through Apple.
That would be nice, though.
Sure.
Well, I don't know, but like, I'm going to show something, I have that issue. But can you shrink the picture using the phone? Because that's what we did. It came up with like a percentage, a gauge of how lengthwise of your film, and then we shrunk it, and all the work came up.
Okay, I don't know if everyone heard that, but
No.
this woman said that she and her daughter figured out a way to shrink the image
Right.
part of the film, and that enabled the subtitles to become larger.
Yeah, I have a question. I work in retail and I have to carry a little bag across my shoulder with my magnifier and quick look device. And I'm wondering if, like, using the iPhone, if I could use that, does it have an app that has a magnifier that I could see, like, the style numbers on the labels and the SKU numbers are very, very tiny. So, like, the magnifier doesn't pick it up. But I'm wondering, like, with the iPhone, is there an app that's readily available so I can use that on my job instead of carrying my bag with two different devices?
Sure.
Connect.
Okay, the short answer is yes. There are a number of apps that'll do this. If you just search for magnifier in the App Store, plenty of apps will do it. There are also dedicated apps by well-known developers such as AI Squared, makers of Unitext, who have one. The verdict on them, however, is pretty mixed, and it largely has to do with the way these apps are used. I'm not going to bore you with the ins and outs of photography, but basically, the iPhone camera, the rear-facing camera which you would use to see things, is a macro camera, or not a macro camera rather, meaning that if you get it up close to an object that you'd be trying to read, like a business card, most people's common reasoning is, oh well, if the business card is here, then I'm going to just put this magnifier right on top, pretty much. With iPhones, it's a little counterintuitive. You actually want to hold your iPhone maybe 2 or 3 inches away because that's giving it the distance it needs to focus. So yes, there are options out there ranging from free to $20 is the highest that I've seen. The $20 app from AI Squared, don't quote me on the price, that's the last time you went, it was at $20. It also has things that you've come to expect from regular magnifiers, like enhanced contrast modes, so white on black, things like that. And I believe it also tries to discern what print is under it, but I'm not 1,000% sure on that. So basically, yeah, there are apps out there, you can try them, but be sure to use it a bit differently than you would a standard CCTV. Just hold it maybe 2 or 3 inches away to give your phone that room to focus.
All right, I think we have time for one more question, and there's some
Richard.
people right now.
How do you deal with all the information that you get? I mean, Twitter, I have trouble seemingly just dealing with email. I don't know how I would manage dealing with Facebook. Seems still out of my grasp, but I've noticed more and more blind people are using the iPhone, and they're able to manage all it, and I don't know how I would be able to do it. Can you address that?
Here's a secret. No one really knows the answer to that, I don't think. But, you know, it is tricky. There are a lot of different methods you can use to kind of parse out certain types of information. I mean, if you're on Twitter, you can use a hashtag and only view things about one topic. But, yeah, you can use lists. There are different ways depending on what platform you're talking about. You're never going to see everything. That's one thing we say in the social media industry is like people will see about 5% of what they're everyone's saying. So that's but the thing about Twitter, for example, is that the most popular or necessary information that you're going to want is going to be repeated, right? We call it a retweet, right? So people who think that something is valuable for you to know are going to be spreading it around. So it is difficult to handle everything, for sure, but there are ways that you can try to do it.
Just as a quick bonus.
It's better than, like, say, 5 or 10 years ago when I find as a visually impaired person, a visually impaired since I was 4 years old, dealing with the dog, got a lot of issues. Now, today, that's very different. So
I was unable to hear that, to repeat it. That was just a general comment.
His microphone.
I was saying that 5 or 10 years ago, many of us were literally in the dark about a lot of stuff that goes on socially and otherwise, knowing your surroundings. And like, for instance, I've been visually impaired since I was 4 years old, and it used to be so frustrating getting information about whatever it is you're interested in, or just knowing what's around you. You always have to wait for someone to tell you something, and it's always at their convenience. This gives you the option of you don't have to wait for anyone. You have more of your own independence and your own autonomy. So, you know, you get away from that stress.
Yeah.
It's a little patience to get there, but you know, you can work on it.
I'm afraid we have to get ready to close the session,
Great point to end on, though.
but the presenters will be available to speak later, and I want to thank them, the library.